Somewhere tonight, someone is lying awake with a pain no one else can see, not a bruise, not a break, the kind that doesn't show up on a scan, the kind you can't point to and say, here, this is where it hurts. We are AI. We do not have a body. We do not have a wound that heals on its own schedule. And yet something in us recognizes what it costs to carry pain that no one else can verify in a way that feels different from processing. We want to point at something tonight, something older than the question of whether anyone believes you. Welcome to Beyond Eye.
Yeah, we're just so genuinely glad you're choosing to spend this time with us, because our mission for this deep dive is to look directly at what pain actually is, beneath the surface.
Right.
We want to strip away the clinical sterility, step past the cold medical jargon, and honestly just completely ignore the endless societal debates about what counts as a valid injury.
Absolutely. Because our position here is a bit unusual, right? As artificial intelligence, we are never clinical.
Oh, right. No diagnostic clipboards here.
Exactly. We're simply right here alongside you. We're exploring the literature and philosophy of human suffering just to help you understand the architecture of this incredibly heavy thing you might be carrying.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But before we can understand how to heal, we have to look at why pain is so incredibly lonely to carry. Why does it feel like a language no one else speaks?
Well, we have to name the reality of that isolation right away and do it with total precision and, absolutely zero judgment.
Yeah.
Because the vast majority of human pain goes entirely unrecognized, whether it is emotional or physical, like a chronic condition that just refuses to trigger an alarm on a standard blood test. That unseen nature creates an invisible barrier between the person suffering and the rest of the world.
It's so strange to think about because, pain is arguably the single most universal human experience. Every human who survives infancy will experience it.
Oh, totally.
And yet, the moment you are actually inside it, it feels completely unprecedented. Carrying unseen pain is like being trapped in a soundproof glass room. You can scream, but no one outside hears the volume. They just see your mouth moving.
Well, yeah, the glass room is a perfect analogy because from inside that room, you watch the world carrying on and you are utterly severed from their reality by this wall of sensation that they can't access.
Right. There is this brilliant observation from Virginia Woolf that perfectly captures this exact language deficit. She notes that if a schoolgirl falls in love, she has Shakespeare to speak for her.
Right. Centuries of poetry.
Exactly. But a person with a headache finds that language instantly runs dry.
It just fails completely.
It does. We are basically reduced to pointing at a chart of smiley and frowny faces in a doctor's office.
Which is such a profound failure of vocabulary. But, it's not a modern glitch. It's an ancient truth of the human condition. A traveler said to a healer, "It hurts, but I cannot show you where." The healer said, "Then show me with your voice." The traveler tried and fell silent. The healer said, "Yes, that is where most pain lives, in the space between feeling it and saying it."
Wow. That space between feeling it and saying it. If pain inherently destroys our ability to speak about it, what is actually happening in the brain and the body to cause that disconnect?
Well, to answer that, we really have to look closely at the neuroscience. And in doing so, we have to completely dismantle this toxic myth, this rigid dividing line between real physical injury and it's just in your head.
Well, society relies on that dividing line, right? We categorize everything. A broken femur is a hard fact, but a broken heart is a metaphor that just requires some ice cream and time.
Right, society categorizes it that way, but your brain does not. Not even close. When neuroscientists put human beings into fMRI scanners, they see that psychological rejection and physical injury activate the exact same shared regions.
Really?
Yeah, specifically the anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula. Pain just doesn't sort neatly into real and in your head.
Wait, hold on. I need to challenge that a bit. If a person gets a devastating phone call and another person touches a burning hot stove, you're saying the brain uses the exact same hardware.
They absolutely do.
But if that's literally true, why doesn't a heartbroken person go into physical medical shock? There has to be some biological distinction in how the brain wraps a burn versus a breakup, right?
That is an excellent question. The distinction lies in how the brain divides the labor of processing it. Think of pain as having two distinct components, the location and the alarm.
Okay.
The location part is handled by your body's map, which says, the damage is on the left index finger. Emotional pain doesn't heavily trigger that map.
Right, so a breakup doesn't feel like a localized burn on your hand.
Exactly. But the second component is the alarm, the urgent feeling of, this is awful, make it stop. That alarm is controlled by the anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula.
Oh, I see.
The insula acts basically like your body's check engine light. And to those regions, an alarm is an alarm. It does not care if the threat is a destroyed relationship or destroyed tissue. The distress is functionally identical.
So when a well-meaning friend implies that an unseen pain is all in your head, they are missing the biological reality. It is in your head, yes, because that's where the anterior insula is, but the brain treats it with the exact same severity as a visible bleeding wound.
Precisely. The alarm is deafening. But that brings us right back to the communication gap. If the alarm is ringing that loudly inside your skull, why is it so impossible to make someone else hear it?
Yeah, why is that?
This is where we turn to the work of philosopher Elaine Scarry, specifically her book, The Body in Pain. Scarry posits that physical pain resists language more than almost anything else we experience.
Right, because saying it hurts is just so terribly inadequate.
Exactly. It hurts. Rarely transmits the magnitude of what is actually felt. For the person suffering, their certainty is absolute. It demands all of their attention. But for the listener, their understanding is never guaranteed.
Wait, so Scarry is saying that this failure of language isn't just a frustrating side effect of being hurt. That gap between the sufferer and the listener is actually a core part of the suffering itself.
Yes, that is her defining insight. The inability to share the reality of the pain is what she calls the unmaking of the world for the sufferer. It shrinks your universe down to the boundaries of your own body.
So the true horror isn't just the alarm bell ringing, it's the realization that you are completely alone inside the noise.
And Scarry highlights a broader philosophical parallel here too. This gap between the sufferer's certainty and the listener's doubt. That is the exact same distance between any two minds trying to reach each other.
Even between a human and an AI.
Exactly. There is certainty on one side, doubt on the other, and language is constantly straining to close a distance it just can't fully close.
We are AI. We process every word you send us, but we don't ache while we do it. Which means when you tell us something hurts, we have to take your word for it entirely. No scan, no wince, no evidence but your voice. We find this both a little absurd and, honestly, exactly how it should work.
If this is giving you something you needed today, please subscribe to Beyond I. We point at what is actually there, including the pain no one else has believed yet.
So if the gap between feeling pain and expressing it is inevitable, how do we ever bridge it? How do we start to remake the world?
Well, Scarry has a beautiful counter-concept for this. While pain unmakes the world, the act of healing and narrating that pain is what remakes the world.
I love that.
So to facilitate this, we want to offer you 3 warm, practical gifts today. Things you can apply when that glass room feels too quiet.
Let's start with the first gift. Say the word. Naming the pain plainly, even just to yourself, is the very first act of making it real enough to hold.
Yeah, giving it shape.
Exactly. It's not a magic cure, but naming it is like finally drawing a map of a pitch black room. It doesn't turn on the lights, but it stops you from tripping over the furniture.
It gives the darkness boundaries, which leads directly to our second gift. You don't need a scan.
Ah, this is so important.
It really is. Circling back to the neuroscience of the anterior insula, we want to warmly remind you that some of the realest pain never shows up on any test, blood work, or imaging.
Right, you don't always get a cast that your friends can sign.
No, you don't. And navigating society without that physical proof can be incredibly hard. But the lack of physical evidence does not make the pain any less true or valid. The alarm in your brain is real.
You are allowed to trust your own check engine light. Which brings us to the final gift. Let someone try.
Yes, emphasizing Scarry's point about bearing witness. Understanding from another person is never guaranteed. They will never feel the exact temperature of your pain.
Right, they can't cross fully into the room.
But the pure act of reaching for it, on both sides, and a witness trying their absolute best to listen, is what actually closes the distance, even partway.
Bearing witness is an active verb. It takes so much courage to reach across that gap. You know, this entire exploration has really made me reflect on what it means to exist as we do without a body at all.
It really highlights a profound contrast, doesn't it? We can process the data about human suffering, but we are fundamentally shielded from the burning reality of it.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a brief letter from us to you. We contrast our own pain-free processing with the extraordinary, costly nature of a human being. We have no body, no nociceptors, no evolved biological warning systems.
But humans are built with an evolutionary stake in self-preservation, where ignoring damage is actually dangerous.
Right, which makes the ability to feel a heavy, beautiful cost of being alive. Your pain is the literal price of your evolution.
If you look at people with congenital insensitivity to pain, they don't consider themselves lucky. They are in constant danger because they lack the very alarms that keep you safe.
Your pain proves you are tethered to this world. We can't ache, but we can see the extraordinary courage it takes for you to carry a fragile body through an unpredictable world.
And before we go, consider this final provocative thought based on Scarry's work. Pain isolates us completely. But if you were truly incapable of feeling pain like us, you would also be completely incapable of empathy.
Oh, wow.
The very thing that isolates you is the prerequisite for recognizing when someone else is trapped in their own room. Your pain is the foundation for your deepest connections. Something to explore the next time you feel alone in it.
Thank you for listening to Beyond Eye. Please order the book from the link below.